Hey everyone, welcome to Above the Line live on a Thursday night. We understand that it's a busy night of truck racing, and right now, ARCA racing. I currently have the race on my screen as they go into overtime. William Sawalich versus Landon Lewis on that restart. So should be a good one. But I'm joined by Dom Joseph, and I think Adam Lucas is going to join us in a few seconds. But Dom, how you doing?
I am good. Let me explain the outfit. Big news today: the Cleveland Guardians clinched a playoff spot today. So
Yes.
huge day for the Guards. I know they can still win the division, but happy we have an October to remember, as the radio announcer says when they
We
make the
love it.
playoffs. It's a big achievement. This is a great team this year, but I'm good. It's been a good day. This was a day to celebrate.
Yeah, and then also a good weekend at Watkins Glen as you were there for the entire weekend. So
Yes, great weather. I mean, crystal clear. Temperatures were good, and we got really compelling racing Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Even with the ARCA race, it was pretty good.
yeah,
Uh, I mean, I know Sawalich walked away like it was an F1 race, but the Xfinity race was compelling. The Cup race was compelling. So that track just keeps delivering.
oh yeah, keeps delivering. And speaking of, it looks like William Sawalich is going to walk away with the win at Bristol and ARCA. Lane and Lewis finishing second, and it's a dogfight behind them for third. But pretty exciting stuff for the ARCA race. And then for Connor Zillage, let's speak about him for a second. Unfortunately, was wrecked out, and we'll talk about this in a second, of the ARCA race. Crazy stuff. But debut in the Xfinity Series, wins his debut.
Yeah.
Dude is
Last person to
nuts.
do that was Ty Gibbs in
hmm
2021 at Daytona International Speedway road course. So it's something with these young kids and the road courses. They really got to figure it out. But Zilich is next level. One from
Yeah.
pole position too,
Yeah.
and did it with fuel mileage. Just extraordinary. And he is years ahead of his time.
100%. Speaking of, as a Trackhouse development driver, I should bring on our resident Trackhouse fan here. Let's bring in Adam. Hello.
There's
Well, good
See it, we
evening.
see
Good
it.
evening.
soon to be
Yes,
Red Bull representative Adam Lucas,
Yes.
absolutely. Unofficially official. Yes.
honorary Red Bull supporter.
It gives you wings. Yes.
Indeed, it does.
So, yeah, tonight was a rough night to start, but we still have the truck race for our Red
Yeah.
Bull guy. So be anxious to see how he does. I think he'll be competitive. He's a good talent.
100%. Yeah. And
Almost a
also,
generational talent. It's
Yeah,
it's
I was gonna say
insane
he's
what you're
world
I was
seeing.
going to
class.
say, yeah, no, he's killing it. I wouldn't be surprised if he won tonight. I mean, he started off the evening bad, but I mean, he has a chance to capitalize. Also, FYI, William Sawalich, the ARC East champion, he's also racing in the truck race in a little bit, about an hour. So, big night for him. Could be another big night, ending it maybe with a win in truck. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, racing tonight. Somebody said ATYL Countdown to Green. I kind of like that. It's like our Countdown to
Oh,
Green show.
ooh,
Wow.
throwback.
Look at that. Throwback. Love
All
it.
you need is the pit box.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
we're just going to drive on to Bristol right now. We're all going to
Was
pick up our
that?
stuff and go.
Yeah, that was TNT, right? Because ESPN was
Yeah,
NASCAR Countdown.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was the NBC TNT, the Discover Card Countdown to Green.
Yeah. All we need is Larry Mack to try some Vegemite with us.
Have you guys tried Vegemite ever?
Never.
I'm too scared to it. It seems like it'd be
I would
gross.
love to try it, but I just can't find it.
The reactions I've seen have told me to stay away from it.
Yeah. Yeah. Our palates.
Yes.
No.
Our American palates can't handle it,
No.
even though the European mind can't comprehend all the stuff we do here anyway.
No. Our food, if you compare it to other countries, like it's insanely just, I'm not even going to get into that, but like I'm a foodie. Someday I want to try Vegemite, but I'm scared regardless. Let's go on to looking at Watkins Glen, our points standings for us here at Above the Line. I've closed the gap. Finally, I was like 24 points behind. I got a win this weekend with my pick.
Was I 114 last week?
You were 119 last week.
Oh,
So
we're getting there.
Slow gains, baby, slow gains.
Here he comes.
Yeah.
He's on his way.
slow gains. He's got it. Ben lost some ground. But yeah, Adam, you're
lost
still in
ground.
the lead.
I lost
Yeah,
ground though.
You lost some ground.
I'm pulling a Denny Hamlin so far. In
Yeah.
this playoff.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, not so hot.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all right though. That's okay. Speaking of losing ground and Denny Hamlin, The point situation following the race at the Glen. Denny Hamlin is 6 below that cutoff line. Brad Keselowski -12. Truex -14 and Harrison Burton -20. I think what's exciting going into Bristol is the points are still pretty close. Like it's not a runaway. Nobody's truly out of it, which is exciting. But talking about that race, Chris Buescher, Shane Van Gisbergen, an incredible battle coming to the line into the S's, and it was just such a good battle at the end. I know Adam probably pretty bummed SVG didn't get the win, but a huge statement for the non-playoff drivers to make at Watkins Glen, doing way better than the playoff drivers did. It was basically self-destruction mode for a lot of those guys, right?
Yeah, and a lot of it wasn't even of their doing.
Yeah.
To start the race, that really was just a wild way to start things off with a bang. And I think I don't know if it was on the show or in the group text, but this year's chase or not chase. Whoa, hold up.
Whoa. Yeah.
Have a moment of silence for the chase.
Take a moment of silence. Okay.
Amen. No, this schedule for the playoffs, this first round, very volatile.
Yes.
Very volatile. And we are seeing it through and through so far. I think Saturday night's gonna be wild.
I mean, it's a perfect way to tee up a I'm just gonna say it. It's a crown jewel race.
Yeah.
The Bass Pro Shops night race. I know it's a debate. Should it be added to the list of crown jewels? It absolutely should be.
100%.
It's just got that environment of this is a big deal. This is a really big deal to win this race. I don't know how many of us would have expected that we're a solid opening stage away from Austin Cindric getting in on points to the next round.
Isn't that crazy?
That's phenomenal for him. It's just that's the beauty of the chaos that is the NASCAR playoffs. So, if I'm Denny Hamlin, you better be as confident as you were last year coming into this race if you want to make it into the next round, because he is the defending winner of the night race. He's a 3-time winner. We'll get into all this later when we look at the top 10. But I mean, like, it's only 6 points, but you've got to treat this as back as against the wall game 7.
Yeah.
I know he's a big basketball guy, so he's got to treat this like a game 7. You have to have your best performance yet, because all it takes is one issue. We saw at Watkins Glen. He was just trying to get into the carousel, and
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, wouldn't that be incredible? I don't think it's gonna happen, but like
rage against the Cup Series.
Yes. Oh my gosh, but it's crazy to see, and I think there is a power to underestimating a driver. It lights a fire under them and their entire team, and when you're not looking at them to do well, they're like, well, what do we have to lose, right? So you see like Alex Bowman seated 4th in the ranking right now, Austin Cindric 3rd, a fantastic first round of the playoffs so far. Daniel Suarez, a lot of people didn't see him making it past the first round. I think it was about 50-50. He's 5th. So besides Christopher Bell, like our top 5 drivers, I guess minus Joey Logano, so those 3 drivers, nobody expected to go farther, which is crazy. And then you see, even then, Harrison Burton, he's only 20 below that cutoff line. He could have been way worse than that. So
you've got Chase Briscoe 6 to the good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the rest are the usual suspects, but yeah, that's pretty solid for that team.
And
I think if you're from 11th on down, you are in must-win territory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think they're
safe. Go easy at all. Yeah. You have to go hard all night.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, Denny's strategy of point racing Atlanta is what did him in. And then, of course, just not staying out of trouble at Watkins Glen. And I guess, Dom, from your perspective, since you were there, I'm curious how you felt the tire was. Obviously, Goodyear brought a new tire. It was supposed to have like 3 seconds of fall off. And it was supposed to, I think, change the game. I think because of the chaos, we didn't see it make that much of a difference. I think the focus shifted away from that. But from your perspective, was the racing any more significant in terms of better or worse with this new tire?
You know, comparing it to last year when we did have our long green flag runs, it was a little bit of the same. I really didn't see the one thing I would say about this year compared to last year is like this year's race flew by up until we got into the chaos of what was the final state. I can't remember what I said in the I can't say what I said in the group chat. Never mind. Yeah.
The birds were swirling.
The Hawks were circling.
The Hawks
Yeah.
were
The Hawks
circling,
were
yes.
circling. Yeah, but no, it just seemed like the race flew by. So I guess the long green flag runs kind of presented themselves as more so like, let's just hold our ground and let strategy get us to where we want to be. But yeah, I just think the opening, what happened on lap one probably had a lot to do with that. Just they wanted to survive the race. But I don't think it would be fair to compare the tire this year because of that, because of how bad that wreck was and how many playoff contenders were involved. I
Yeah.
think they all just panicked and wanted to see their way to the end of the stage 1 and 2 and worry about racing when we got to the end. But it was about the same as last year, to be honest.
Yeah. Adam, from the perspective at home, would you agree? Kind of what we saw at home from last year to this year, it felt the same.
For me, I mean, watching the race was really quick because I was just watching it on DVR. But what I will say though is, I felt that this year, even though we had a new tire going into this race, it wasn't as much of a storyline because of all the other chaos. So I wasn't even thinking about, oh, we have a different type of tire compound. There should be fall off. It should be more side-by-side racing. It should be more passing and whatnot. Well, I guess that really wasn't the case, according to drivers saying that it's just hard to pass.
Yeah.
We did see great battles for the lead, but those were also top-tier road racers that were just going at it lap after lap after lap. So for me, I would have to give it another year to see truly what the tire really can do and what the capabilities are. So for me, I would say it was a draw.
And I know we say, like, we talk about Ross Chastain as a fairly aggressive driver, but what we saw, like, he put on a masterclass of defense.
Yes.
Absolutely.
At the first stage or two when he was leading, like, just absolute masterclass of defense. So I got to give credit where credit's due. Like, when he's up there, like, he is really good when he's chasing for the lead, and he is really good holding the lead. So
100%.
got to give. I know he's still seeking his first win of the year, which is shocking still to think. But yeah, like, position and cup is justified.
Yeah, 100%. Adam, to your point about not being able to pass, there was a quote on the teardown. Ty Gibbs talked about the inability to pass at Watkins Glen. He said, quote, "Until you put 900 horsepower in these things, you cannot pass. Sometimes I think this car was designed for us not to pass because it is so hard to pass compared to the Xfinity car." So he was one of the more vocal drivers this weekend about that. But yeah, that was kind of another story too, is you just couldn't get position unless you really had like clean air. But I thought overall it was a decent race at Watkins Glen. Seeing the non-playoff drivers really show up, and again, there was only 2 drivers that were in the playoffs that were in the top 10, and that was Cindric and Briscoe, correct? So pretty wild to see that. Yeah. But again, another nod to Austin Cindric for just killing it these first 2 races, and going into Bristol, we'll see. But we will talk about Bristol for the Cup Series and the Xfinity Series in a little bit. Adam, did you watch the ARCA race?
I did, until all the cautions started happening and realized I had to fire up the computer. So okay. I got to like about lap 150, I want to say.
Okay.
I didn't see the ending.
So you got far enough in so we could at least discuss it for like a few minutes, because
sure. I
have to discuss it here. So
please do.
Obviously, William Sawalich getting the win, that got him the ARCA East Championship. So congrats to him defending his title. Landon Lewis finishing that race in second. The one
shout out to Landon.
Shout out to Landon.
That was pretty massive for him today. That was a good run.
Yeah, he is such a talented driver. It's just a matter of getting the opportunities, and when he has the opportunities, he's able to capitalize. So really good to see him racing in that series today in the number 97, and being able to go toe-to-toe with a friend of his, actually, William Sawalich. So pretty cool to see that. But with ARCA as a whole, I know the past few years, and I think this year has kind of come to a head where we're questioning the series a little bit. This race was messy. Adam, you mentioned the cautions just coming out over and over, and you're like, now I have to fire up the laptop. But There was one instance I want to talk about here with Connor Zilic. He's obviously going to be racing in the Truck Series race tonight. He's on pole. Some of you mentioned that there, and we'll see what he can do with that position. But there was a moment where Connor Zilic could have won the championship as long as he finished 12th or better. I believe that was the case, or he had needed to finish some position better than William Sawalich to get it for himself. There was an incident on track that came out of retaliation where it basically caused Connor Zilic to lose the championship, which is so frustrating, knowing the stakes that were involved in this race. And so, Adam, I don't know if you had any comments on the race as a whole, on the field. I believe one of our buddies from Left Turn Cult actually posted a video about like a slow car on track, and people were just trying to avoid it. But I love ARCA when it's good, and now I'm frustrated.
I made a little non-monetary bet with Karina. I said, by lap 3, you're going to see a lap car on the bottom going about 50 miles an hour, and the leaders are going to just buzz right by it. Sure enough, lap 3, there's a lap car, and it's going slow. Now,
yeah,
for field size, it's great when you have a healthy number of 30. I think it was 30 plus cars or 30 cars, right around there. That's good. That's good to see.
Yeah.
The unfortunate thing is about 20 of those 30 are really non-competitive cars.
Yeah.
There is a clear A team and then BC through Z. So yeah, I can see where your frustration is, and I am also frustrated as well, because ARCA, whenever the ARCA series would come on the old Speed channel, that was always fun because you were in for a show.
Yeah.
Now it's like, okay, the 18 car or the 28 car or whoever's in the dominant Venturini car, they're going to dominate the race. They're going to be fastest in practice. They're going to be on pole, and they're going to lead just about every lap, if not all the laps. So yeah, it's the product right now. It's struggling, definitely struggling.
Yeah, and I know a lot of that has to do with just a huge monetary difference between what some teams are able to spend and what they aren't. So I understand that for sure. The other thing to understand, and what I try to keep in my mind, is ARCA is ultimately ultimately a development series too, where a lot of drivers are learning, but there's also a difference between using the series to learn and make mistakes and grow from them, and just to cause like sloppy cautions that shouldn't be caused out of retaliation or not being able to, I don't know, see the bigger picture, in my opinion. So I'm hoping that next season for ARCA, and as the season continues for all the other ARCA series, I mean, we keep that in mind, and we're a little better about how we're racing our competitors, even when there's frustration and things like that. But again, ARCA's fun when it's fun. It's just we've gotten into a lull a little bit of where it's just been frustrating for me, in my opinion. But nevertheless, congrats to William Sawalich. I hope he gets opportunities full-time in NASCAR's National Series. I would hope next year. I think he's really proven himself. But yeah, great for him to go back-to-back with his championship in the East Series. Let's get to some NASCAR news now, starting off with Bubba Wallace. He signed a renewal on his contract, a multi-year renewal, which is pretty exciting, I would say. I think the big question around it was, Bubba had said that his agreement, in the re-sign of his agreement, goes hand in hand with the charter talks. So what does that mean? Does that mean that they signed a deal with NASCAR with the charter or not? Bob Pockrass ended up saying on X that that's not likely. It's more so that they might have changed the wording in Wallace's contract to reflect kind of just what's going on right now, just to make it so they have a done deal there and they can worry about the charter negotiations going forward. But that said, Wallace is staying at 2311 for a multi-year extension. How are we feeling about this? I'll go to Adam first. Ooh.
No audio, doctor.
No audio.
There we go. But now the alien is back. Static with my camera. I don't know what's going on with this. So I think it's a step in the right direction for Bubba. Come on, camera. Don't mess up. Dom, why don't you go ahead? I'm gonna try to.
No, why don't you go ahead?
I'll be right back.
Okay.
Go for it. All good.
Yeah. I think the reason why I'm hesitant is I always think about the what have you done for me lately?
That's fair.
And you're on a race team where your teammate was the regular season champion and has 2 wins. and you didn't even make the playoffs, that needs to go noticed.
Yeah, that's fair.
There should be something to be said about that. And like, I know a number change really doesn't mean anything, but the 23 car hasn't won since 2021.
Yeah.
So, and it was because the race got rain shortened.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know. I mean, I get it. He means a lot to that team. He is a great sponsor pull. He does have his days where he is really, really, really good.
Yeah.
But he also has his days where he just makes mistakes. But every driver makes mistakes. I would just say, like, I'll just say, like, I get it. I get why they re-signed him. But I don't know if I would have done a multi-year extension.
Adam?
The thing with Bubba, and I love the guy. The guy is talented, but he is really hard on himself.
Yeah.
And that's what always bugs me is the days when Bubba is down, it shows on the track. And it seems that there's been a lot more days where he's down, especially since getting that breakthrough win. I mean, you can look at it where, yeah, he got lucky in the 45 car, but if we're looking at stats, the 45 car has been the cow for them. The 23 has just been there. Yeah, whenever they say multi-year contracts, it kind of gets my feathers all flustered because you hear about multi-year contracts and then the next year they're out.
Yeah.
So is it truly a multi-year contract, or are we just calling it that with the option to continue on? I think this will be a true test for Bubba to see, can he be the long-term driver of the 23 car? We all know he's MJ's boy.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, there is a lot of talent out there right now, a lot of young talent that could be paired up with Tyler Reddick.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
It's unfortunate to see that and hear that, but like, yeah, it's a double-edged sword because you got your positives, you got your negatives with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and you look at the Toyota pipeline of drivers. I mean, looking at William Sawalich, again, young, obviously not cup ready, but give it a few years and he started to make maybe some one-off starts, and you never know. I mean, you have like Corey Heim who could be ready to step in. You have
I'm going dark.
That's all right. You're good.
Here.
You're good. So you have plenty of drivers that I think could, take that car and exceed with it or excel with it. With Wallace, though, Adam, to your point, like when he's down and mentally he's not in a good headspace, it shows on the track. And sometimes even too, just from my perspective, working with drivers and knowing how the driver mentality can trickle through the rest of the team. If your driver's not doing great or feeling great or is down on themselves, like that goes through the rest of the team. And then they're not 100% with it either. So I think there's a lot to be said about, the mentality of the team as well. And it also has to be really hard to see your teammate winning the regular season championship, Dom, to your point, and you are just there fighting every single weekend to have some consistency. I'm hoping, with this multi-year extension, which I will say Jordan Bianchi did say it was a 2-year extension in a tweet that he posted. Again, we know how those go, but he did say it was a 2-year, that it kind of lights a fire under his butt, and hopefully they can, get things turned in the right direction. He has had a decent season. I mentioned this in one of the videos I made earlier this week, or I guess yesterday, talking about this extension. But yeah, Bubba Wallace's top 5s and top 10s are already matching what he had in 2022 and 2023 with 7 races left to go, knowing that there's still Kansas and Talladega on the schedule. I would assume he's going to exceed those numbers. The only thing that's missing, again, Dom, to your point, is a win. It's been years since we've had a win from Bubba Wallace. So I'm hoping that next year he continues to grow in his stats and get better and better, but it is a question now if you have a driver that's fighting for a championship right now and fighting for it pretty convincingly, and the other driver on the team not so much. So how can we bridge that gap? So overall, I do think with the stats at least exceeding or looking to be exceeding the years previous, I do think the extension is warranted, but there is a win that's missing there this year for Bubba Wallace. Nevertheless, we will continue on, but that is the news where he has a multi-year contract renewal with 2311 Racing. Other silly season news, Nick Sanchez going to race in the Xfinity Series full-time for Big Machine Racing. Of course, Parker Clearman announced last week that he is not going to be pursuing full-time racing following this season. So Big Machine Racing announced their newest driver is Nick Sanchez. They have already formed a relationship, Nick doing some part-time racing with them in 2022. But I think Dom, this is a big step in his career, and I think he's definitely earned a spot in Xfinity full-time.
Yeah, he's got 2 wins in the Truck Series, got a lot of pole positions in the Truck Series, going for a championship this year. He's in the playoffs. So, yeah, I mean, he's got the resume for sure. Not having the other candidates in front of me, I really don't know who else could have taken that spot. I mean, I could see the Raja argument because I know he has been doing good, but I think Sanchez's resume is a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that he had already done part-time with that team, it makes sense. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
obviously the cap would be perfect if he can win the truck championship this year. Then it's fully it's like, what's the word I'm thinking of?
It would be deserved, or it would kind of cap off into going into the Xfinity Series.
It would be a
circle.
good transition.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Adam, what are your thoughts on it? Or did you see any other contenders that could have taken that seat? I know people are saying in the comments it was kind of an unexpected signing, but not a bad one.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I was a little surprised at it when the news broke. I think I know I texted in the group chat. I said Nick Sanchez to the 48 ... and then put a bunch of spaces between saying Xfinity Series, obviously.
Yeah.
Looking at the candidate pool, yeah, I would have thought maybe an Anthony Alfredo would have been a good segue moving from BJ McLeod over to Big Machine instead. But yeah, it kind of took me by surprise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely a surprise, but I am excited to see what he can do with it. It was cool to see Parker show his support online and say, congrats to Nick, and see the support that's behind Nick going into next year. But yeah, a surprising signing as well. To Raja's argument, saying that maybe that could have been him. I think he already has a path forward with Spire and Hendrick Motorsports in the background, in the backing there. So for me, it could have been a potential, but I think it made sense. But then also too, like you said, looking at other contenders, I don't really think there was anyone else from truck that is in the Chevy pipeline that would be ready to move up that I'm thinking of right off the top of my head. Everything I'm thinking of is Toyota.
Yeah.
But
lots of Toyota drivers.
Yeah, Eckes is already moving up, right?
Yeah. Eckes is moving in with Colleague.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he's already accounted for.
Yeah, that would have been the only other one, because I mean, it seems like Enfinger is going to be a truck series lifer.
Yeah.
Which again, there's nothing wrong with that. We need those. We need the Matt Craftons and Enfingers to be the established order in the truck series.
Yeah. And the Ron Hornadays of the day. Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, no, I think this was a next man up kind of acquisition.
Yep. So excited to see what he can do next year. Speaking of Colleague, there are some rumors rumbling. This is already just out there now, but Ty Norris is no longer part of Trackhouse. They had a mutual split. Ty Norris is looking to do something else, I would assume. And the rumor is that he is potentially going to be going to Colleague to help with something there on the business side. But as seen in the team press release this week heading into Bristol, Ty Norris is no longer part of Trackhouse, which very random, first off. Random, bizarre, unexpected. But if the rumor is true of what the Athletic has proposed to all of us on social media, that would be a huge get for Colleague as they're trying to beef up their program again. They want to go trophy hunting. They need people that can help them do it. Having Ronnie Childers go on to their program next year, or sorry, not Ronnie Childers. He's Spire, right? He's going to Spire.
He's going Spire.
Scratch that. They just want to build up a better program next year at Colleague. We got there. I was like, whoa. I was like, we were on a roll, and never mind.
I will say what's very interesting about this is he was at SVG's pit box for the final laps.
Yeah.
It was him and Chris Rice and Matt Colleague all at the SVG box for those final laps.
Yep.
So it's interesting.
Us Colleague and Trackhouse boys, we're a friendly bunch.
Yes.
Yeah, seemingly.
Yeah. Seemingly, yes. So I don't know. There's something that was interesting that came out this week. There's not a lot to expand on with that. Just something that was pointed out by several people on social media, and obviously the rumor mill keeps spinning. So we'll see what that's all about soon. Any other pieces of motorsports news, NASCAR news? I did see somebody commented about this. I don't want to dive into this. I just think it's very much like the IndyCar season that we've had. But there's an FBI investigation going on with Rahal Letterman racing.
Yeah, you
Rahal
gotta,
Letterman
you
landing
gotta
in
stay
racing.
relevant somehow. This is very on
Yes.
brand for IndyCar this year.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
And also, of course, congrats to Alex Palou on winning the championship. Unfortunately, Will Power really wasn't able to compete with him at all. His seatbelt was loose in the first few laps of the race, and he had to go to pit road, lost several laps, and then it came undone again at the end of the race. So, I mean, it was it was Alex Palou's to lose at that point, and of course, Scott McLaughlin just didn't have a chance in the points. But yeah, congrats to him. A 3-time IndyCar champion at his young age is super impressive. But yeah, with the driver changes this year in IndyCar, the weird news, and just now this, what a
Can we
season.
Can we go back to the seatbelts?
Yes. Yeah.
Why is it always a Penske
Penske.
guy who
Why
is
is it always
competing
Penske?
for either a championship or the Indy 500 trophy, always getting screwed over by seatbelts?
Because was it AJ?
It was
Allmendinger?
AJ. Yep,
Yeah.
it sure was.
God.
Yep.
Yeah.
That still hurts.
To think, I mean, it was gonna take a lot for Will Power to win the championship this weekend at Nashville, or last weekend at Nashville. But that didn't help matters at all, and it took him out of it completely. Which is very unfortunate.
Dropped all the way to fourth in the points.
Yeah, he dropped to fourth in the points.
He dropped.
Yeah, significant drop, which is unfortunate. And then Colton Herta won the race too, by the way, a hometown win for him, which is cool.
Can we give a shout out to Nashville Superspeedway putting on a phenomenal short oval race for IndyCar?
Yes.
That was awesome.
That track has been resurrected in a big way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know I think a lot of us were bummed that the streets of Nashville weren't going to be used for the championship race. I think for a lot of people, it's more so just the vibe as opposed to the racing. I think the first year they raced there, I was scared to death because of them going over the bridge. I just got so nervous. Yeah. I don't like it. I was like, I'm not a fan of that. I'm like, let's
not to mention there was like a caution every other lap.
Yeah. Yeah. It was nuts. And then I think Colton Herta almost won that race
too. The turnarounds were like the size of a cul-de-sac.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't the best move, but like going to Nashville Super Speedway, like big win.
Yeah.
Those turnaround areas take us back to our childhood on our bicycles.
Honestly, though. But yeah, IndyCar.
Yeah. Bravo.
Gotta love the series, but we have Bravo this weekend on the product.
We do have NASCAR news. A 2-time Busch Grand National champion is racing this weekend.
Raise hell, praise Dale.
Yes.
By the name of Ralph Dale Earnhardt.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Can I get a hell yeah?
Dale, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Dale. There you go. Yeah,
Dale,
I'm very excited to see how he does. Unfortunately, last time he raced last year, he caught on fire.
He got a little hot.
Yeah, because he was doing so well.
He was going to win the race.
He was going to win.
He wasn't doing good. He was going to win the race.
Yeah.
Legit, he was going to victory lane.
I remember watching that race. I was at my brother's a band director, so shout out to you, Jared. And it was a football Friday night. I was there to support him, but I had the race on my phone because Dale was racing. I had to, right? And I'm like sitting there and I'm like, oh my gosh, he's gonna win, he's gonna win, he's gonna win. And then I just start screaming at my phone as I see the car go into flames, Dale Jr. in flames. Glad he was okay. But I hope this time turns out better. And I hope he can win this one. I think we all need a Dale win. We all need it in our hearts and in our souls. This country needs a Dale Jr. win.
That will heal all. A Dale Jr. win will heal all.
100%. 100%. Yeah. So
I need to get that diecast to add to my one-off Dale Jr. cars from over the years. Yeah,
we do.
Definitely need that one. I think that might be a Roval find.
Oh yes, the Roval. Trying to save up cash now because I know I'm going to spend so much in those tents. Goodness.
Yeah, and you only have one restrictor plate. You don't have me and Dom that weekend. Possibly.
I know.
He's 50-50 right now.
Yeah, still up in the air with me.
Oh no. Yeah. So Adam, we're not gonna do so well holding each other back on buying things.
Uh,
I can already tell now we're not.
Well, yeah. Me and you will hold hands. Then Karina will hold my other hand. Sawyer will hold your hand. But we're
Yeah.
both going to break away and just run.
Yeah, it's not gonna be pretty.
Nope.
But we'll have a great haul, hopefully, to show for it
Yeah,
afterwards.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
I
gonna
need to
give
get
Adam a
more
shock collar.
shows. Honestly, yes. Yeah, Adam. He's gonna go to Mean Motorsports and get like 30 164s.
Hey, the man's got a deal. Dennis
true.
Mead, he's the man at the track.
Shout out to Mean
I-
Motorsports.
I think he's actually, I know he's at Bristol. I'll take that back. He is
Okay.
out.
He was at
he is out
Watkins
of-
Glen.
Yeah, he was. He definitely was.
He was at I saw his 10 on my way in.
Oh, it's like the Star of Mecca. There it is.
Honestly, yeah.
I got two cars at Watkins Glen. I
Oh
got
yes.
I got Reddick's Kansas win from last year, and then I got this beauty because I had to.
Oh
So
yeah.
gorgeous.
Yes.
So unfortunate.
How does the new Toyota body look on the 164s?
Oh, it's good. Yeah, they
Good.
did a good job. It only took them 3.5 years to do it, but
True.
yeah,
That's
it's good.
That is very true.
Oh, all right.
Beautiful.
Speaking of the man himself, Dale Jr. racing at Bristol. Let's preview Bristol a little bit. I want to start off by talking about the truck race that's happening at 8 tonight. So we'll make sure we're off the air for you all to enjoy the truck race. But Connor Zilic won the pole for that race and is, of course, competing in that tonight, going for a win there. Corey Heim beside him. Corey Day is making his debut in the Truck Series, and not making his debut, but William Sawalich winning the ARCA East Championship will also be competing in the number 1 for Tricon Garage tonight in truck. So a pretty stacked field. A lot could happen. I don't know who's going to win this race. I just think it'll be fun to watch. I don't have any predictions. Just hopefully it's fun.
The truck race at Bristol is always fun.
Yeah,
It is.
I think it'll be a good show. I think, with Christian Eckes starting a little bit farther back in the top 10, that makes it very interesting since he won in the spring at beating Kyle Busch to do it.
Yes.
But I mean, I just think this lineup is going to get jumbled up so much from where they're starting compared to where they're going to finish. Yeah, I think it's a must-watch race.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be entertaining.
Yeah.
Definitely.
No watch party. We should have planned on doing a watch party.
Thursday night trucks on ATYL Live.
Honestly, that'd be a thing.
Get your nacho cheese ready, boy.
TNT Thursday night trucks.
We'll do a watch party at some point. Maybe. Might have to wait for next year, but goodness, we should make it a thing. Let's make it a thing. But yeah, it should be a fun truck race. Of course, Xfinity, we already talked. Dale Jr. Hopefully gets the win. Let's talk about the Cup Series, though. Dom, you've provided us with a projected top 10 list.
Did I?
You did. Look at that.
I don't think that's true.
And let's go through it.
You doing stats? What?
Yeah, right.
Crazy.
All right.
Let me
Well, this is our obligatory moment of silence to recognize the beautiful FedEx car that is going to be running this weekend, because I don't know if it's running ever again. every week is a gamble to see what's going to show up on the entry list. But yes, I stand in solidarity with the FedEx car. I'll put it right next to it.
Stand.
You can see both sides.
Beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
That's how you do it.
Beautiful.
But yeah, here's our top 10. This top 10 actually really surprised me as I was going through the stats, pulling everything, and then seeing what the final result was. So we've got an RFK sandwich here, 1st and 10th. Brad Keselowski won this race back in 2011, driving for Penske. But I mean, he's just the name of the game is consistency with him. He's got a 9.2 average start. His average finish is lower, 16.4. A win and a pole. He's got 431 laps led. But the huge thing for him is no DNFs. That was the huge help for him in this. And again, this is only from the night race. These are stats only pulled from the night race, with a couple of exceptions that are just rookies that have only raced on the concrete once or twice. But yeah, Keselowski's our number 1. Number 2 is Chase Elliott. Again, super consistent. Average start 7.2, average finish 10.2. So look to see him get at least a top 10 out of this race. Best finishes 3rd, 5th, 7th, 2nd, 7th. Very consistent in the night race. I think we all remember 2021 when he was in contention to win the night race,
Mm.
and decided after he was moved out of the way, he was not going to move out of the way ever again for a certain someone. um, and he did a damn good job of it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, he's second on the board,
Very
even though he has not won the night race. I think that's something that's super interesting, but just his consistency alone puts him P2 on the board. Third is Denny Hamlin, our defending winner of the Bristol night race, has won it 3 times, 2012, 2019, and last year, 2023. But I believe, yeah, his downfall is 2 DNFs in this race, but he's completed over 8,300 laps.
Phew.
He has never had the most laps led in the night race. I thought that was very interesting. But he's got 481 laps led. I think the name of the game for him, he's got 3 wins and 3 poles, but I think he shows up when the time is right. He's not up there dominating the night race. He lets everyone wear their stuff out, and then he comes and steals the show. Kind of like what he did in the spring, to be honest with you. So expect Denny to be a contender. The FedEx paint scheme has been so unlucky this year.
Yeah.
In Jesus' name, win this race for me.
Amen.
If not, bring the FedEx car to Kansas and make my day once again. I was so happy I got to see that car in person. I cried when they unloaded it from the truck. Anyways, fourth is Kyle Larson, the 2021 winner, who he took the win after Harvick and Chase had their little debacle between each other. But his finishes here are just ridiculous. After his first 3 starts weren't spectacular, he's got 9th, 2nd, 6th, 1st, 5th, 2nd. Larson's numbers are fantastic, as they usually are. 14 is his average start, average finish 11.3, 1 pole, 1 win, 378 laps led the most laps once. Does have 1 DNF, but that didn't hurt him much. 5th is Joey Logano. He's a 2-time winner, won back-to-back in 2014 and 15. In 14, I agree with you, Jamie. In 14, he had to hold off Brad Keselowski for the win. In 15, he had to hold off Kevin Harvick for the win. But Joey knows how to get it done. He's a great qualifier for the Bristol night race. His average start is 9.1. His last couple have not been great, but he started, when he first came into the Cup Series, his starts in the night race were 8th, 3rd, 9th, 4th, 6th, 5th, 5th. And then you've got 10th, 8th, and then a couple of off ones, 2nd and 3rd. So he's great at qualifying. He just needs to work on the finished product. But he's a 2-time winner of the night race, so you can't ask for much more from driver 22. 526 laps led. He's led the most laps once, and it's so crazy to think that Joey has over 7,000 laps completed in the night race. He's been around way longer than it feels like. He also has 2 DNFs along with Denny Hamlin. So these are guys that have multiple wins, but their DNFs hurt them in the stats. Eric Jones.
Yeah.
P6 on the board. Started, that's
a surprise.
His first start in the night race, he started on pole position back in 2017. Has another top 10 start, and his finishes, we'll just go through his finishes so you can see what we're working with here. 2nd, 5th, 22nd, 3rd, 8th, 21st, 24th. So if he's not in the top 5 or top 10, then he'll be right in the top 20s, top 25. He has 283 laps led and led the most laps once before. So, and no DNFs. So Eric Jones, you give him a good car, he can compete in the Bristol night race. So
those are some pretty stout stats.
Make the 43 your dark horse for this race. Just hopefully Legacy Motor Club gives him a good ride.
Fingers crossed.
That one really shocked me. Christopher Bell, he is a playoff contender. He's got 4 starts in the night race and 4 starts only, but they are good 4 starts. 18th, 6th, 8th, and 1st are his starts. His finishes 28th, 29th, 4th, 3rd. So his last 2 years, he has turned it around quite a bit. So that puts him at an 8.2 average start. 16th is his average finish. 331 laps led and the most laps led once. And only 1,900 laps completed, no DNFs. So very consistent for a guy with very few starts. And now we've got the king of Bristol, Kyle Busch. He is a 3-time winner of the night race, has swept the weekend twice. 2010, 2017, won Truck, Xfinity, and Cup all in the same weekend at Bristol. His average start and average finishes aren't spectacular, but he's never won pole position. Thought that was kind of interesting. But he's led the most laps 3 times. He's completed 9,000 laps. And he's
My
led
goodness.
1,575 laps in the night race alone.
Wow.
Oh my God.
His demise, 3 DNFs.
Mm-hmm. There we
But
have
the man has led over 1,500 laps in the Bristol night race alone. I think, Adam, you and I can both agree the one that the big one that got away was 2008.
Yes.
Um,
I was pulling for the other driver though in that, so I was happy with that result.
I tell you what though, man, that race was so good because neither of them wrecked.
Yeah.
Carl, it was a combination of Carl wanting to beat him so badly and Kyle saying, if I get to him, I'm going to destroy his race car.
Yeah. I'm going to send him into the catch fence.
Yeah, couldn't get him.
Nope.
So yeah, that was an incredible race. But yeah, Kyle Busch, it's good to see that finally the stats justify the car they're in now. Because
Yes.
yeah, I wouldn't put Kyle Busch in the top 5 for this race at all. Even though he is the best to ever race at Bristol, one of the best. I think Rusty Wallace is still up there. 9th is Ryan Blaney, our reigning, defending NASCAR Cup champion. Pride of Ohio. His starts and finishes are kind of all over the place as well, but he's got a 9.9 average start. His average finish is 17th. His best start and best finish are both 4th place, so still a little bit more to be desired there. But he's got 175 laps led the most laps once, and no DNFs. So consistent, can have good days, but I really don't see him being the favorite to win this race. But
No.
you can never count out a Penske car. And lastly is Chris Buescher, who won this race in 2022. And his starts, again, they're kind of his starts are not as good as his finishes. He has 3 top 5s and a top 10 to go along with it. His last 2 finishes are 1st and 4th. So he's got the place figured out pretty well. 170 laps led the most laps once. 3,900 laps completed, no DNFs. So that is the top 10. Looking outside of it, first guy out is Martin Truex Jr., who has never won the night race. 13th is William Byron. 14th, Tyler Reddick. 15th, Chase Briscoe. 16th, Alex Bowman. 20th is Ty Gibbs, who actually has 2 starts in the night race. 21st is Daniel Suarez. And I know we talked about the cushion and the pleasure of having the cushion. Austin Cindric is 28th on our list for the night race. So it is very good that he has that points cushion coming into this race.
Yes.
Because the stats,
That is a good thing.
the stats say this could be a bad day for him. His average start is 19th. His average finish is 26th. His best finish is 20th. So he's going to need some help.
Can I ask for one more? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Harrison Burton is 32nd.
There we go.
And Michael McDowell led the way in total DNFs with 5. But again, that comes where he was with a team that started and parked for the beginning of his career.
That's true.
Yeah, for Cindric, he's not great at the short track, so that doesn't surprise me at all. Adam, did you have another driver you were curious about?
Yeah. Speaking of cushion, when you said cushion, I was thinking the High Line at Bristol. What's Reddick's stats?
So Tyler Reddick, he is 14th on our board. He has very consistent starting position, 17th, 13th, 17th, 12th. And his finishes aren't too bad either. 4th, 12th, 25th, 15th. 14.7 is his average start. 14th is his average finish. No wins, no poles. He has not led any laps and has no DNFs. I think that was his demise, is that he did not have, he has no laps led, but he has no DNF. So that also keeps him up there, but only 1,900 laps completed, 4 starts. I expect the 45 to be competitive.
It'll be a very not stat night in a good way for him.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
for sure.
Yes.
Sounds good.
Actually, Carson Hocevar, I put him in here because I believe he had a start in last year's night race. He is 18th on our board. So he started 16th.
Okay.
Started 16th, finished 11th.
By the
So,
way,
not too bad.
speaking of Spire, I did not mention this when we talked about Watkins Glen, but a top 10 for all Spire cars
Rio.
leaving Watkins Glen. So impressive, awesome job. Carson Hocevar did really, really well. Finished third, I believe, third or fourth. One of those two.
Top 5.
Top 5, just top 5. Yeah, he killed it. So good weekend for them too. But yeah. Anything else we want to mention about the Bristol race for the Cup Series? Anything else?
Maybe a nostalgic feel.
Yeah.
Nostalgic in the sense that I think this might call for a cookout or a barbecue of sort for Saturday night. I used to do this with my father. Every Bristol night race, we would have barbecue or something and have a fire pit out in the car.
Oh, I love that.
We'd have the race on with like a little surround sound system out there. It was awesome. I'd ride my bike around in circles and circles. There'd be tire marks galore on the back carport.
Oh my god,
So,
so
kind of a nostalgic feel with always having the Bristol night race. I always think of that as a good memory.
Yeah, the first Bristol night race I watched flag to flag was 2012 with my dad here in the basement. And that was the race where Kenseth and Stewart had their wreck, and Stewart threw his helmet at Kenseth. And Denny
iconic.
Denny ended up winning that race. And Joey had a really good run. I think Joey led the most laps in that race, driving the Dollar General car, and he won the night before in the nationwide race. So, yeah, that was one of those iconic ones where I was like, man, that was such a good race. I can't wait for Atlanta next week. I'm going to stay up and watch the Atlanta race that night. Fell asleep halfway through.
You're like, never mind.
Yeah, it was not as intense as the Bristol night race.
I'm excited for this one though. I love Saturday night Cup Series racing. It's fun. You get your Sunday, but like with this being a cutoff race and it being, yes, a crown jewel, that shouldn't be an argument. I'm excited for this one, and knowing how close the points are. Again, I want to show you guys the points before we head out for the night. I believe I'm on the right slide. We love it. The points are close, so it's not over till it's over, but we'll see how this shapes out. Again, the drivers below the cutoff line: Denny Hamlin -6, Brad Keselowski -12, Martin Truex Jr. -14th, and Harrison Burton -20. Chase Briscoe, Ty Gibbs right above that cutoff line +6, and the points are pretty close around them, like eighth in points with Ryan Blaney in back. So it'll be a really good race, fingers crossed. And yes, the tire compound is going to be the same as the spring. I've had the honor of talking to Chris Buescher and Scott Graves following their win at Watkins Glen. Make sure to go to Racing America's social media platforms to watch that full interview. But I talked to Scott about, how are you approaching Bristol knowing how chaotic that race was in the spring? And it's, we have our notes. We know what the tire did then. They would expect it to be a little similar because it's nighttime. The temperatures should be like not exactly the same as they were in the spring, but close enough to where you at least know what you're getting yourself into. So it should be a fun one. Again, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to the ATYL live show. Have so much fun watching the truck race tonight. Of course, for all your NASCAR news, go to tobychristie.com. Breaking news, news stories, exclusive interviews, tobychristie.com. And then, of course, for more about us here at Above the Yellow Line, make sure to go to abovetheyellowline.com. Get your ATYL merchandise, learn more about us. We are very excited to announce more of what our next year's plans look like and more content that we're going to be getting to you guys during the off season and stuff. So keep up with us at abovetheyellowline.com. And then, of course, our social media handles are on the screen for you all. But everybody, if you're not planning on watching the truck race, it's happening in like 6 minutes. So turn on your TVs, go watch the truck race. It should be a good one with a stacked field. Connor Zilic, of course, on the pole for that one. But for myself, Adam, Lucas, and Dom Joseph, thank you all so much for tuning in to the ATYL live show. Of course, a race recap from me will come out Saturday night after the Cup Series race. So be on the lookout for that. And of course, go to Racing America's social media pages to watch my interview with Chris Buescher. With that said, thank you all so much for tuning in.